Good morning, learner. We are going to begin as a very important topic, especially in the field of physical education and sports sciences, research methodology, classification research based on the method. This is the fourth lecture of the classification of research based on method. Today lecture we will cover the two important aspects. Number one is the historical research and next is the survey research. So in these sections we will mainly focus of two important concepts. Number one of historical research, second is survey. In the last classes we already discussed about the purpose of the different type of research and classification of research on the basis of purpose, first and second on the basis of approach, and now we will continue on the basis of method, the historical research and survey research. Important thing is the main type of research by the methods. Number one is descriptive research, analytical research, experimental research, and today we will discuss about the historical and survey research. Main important thing with the historical research, exactly what is the historical research. Historical research is a type of research that studies the past event, ideas, pupils, development in order to understand the present and predict the future trend. So two important things, we studies of the past. On the basis of the study of past, we understand the present, and on the basis of past and present, it will be helpful to predict the future trend. It also helpful to know how and why the certain event happened in this history. Just like we are discussing in the field of physical education and sports sciences, historical research help us to understand the origin and development of different type of game and sports policy, Olympic movement, and physical education system, and famous personalities. Next important thing with the relation to the historical research, that means the systematic study of the past event during, generally we can explain in a different way, that is historical research means a systematic study of past event using the available record and evidences. The important thing, it's based on available record and evidence. On the basis of the available resources, document, evidences, we conduct the systematic study of past event. The researcher collect, especially in the historical research, the information from the old document, books, reports, newspaper, photograph, and other historical sources to understand the past situation scientifically. The important thing is the research is a simple, a systematic, scientific, planned process through which we studies of, just like the historical research. So historical research means the study of the historical event in a proper planning, scientific way, and in a systematic way. So this is the historical research. Just like we giving the example, if a researcher studies the development of physical education in India after the independence, so it is called the historical research. So after the independence, from the independent to till date, what kind of event was recorded, and on the basis of available evidences and record, we conduct the historical research. Next important thing with the historical research is, historical research is defined, just like we giving the definition, as a process of careful examine the past event to discover the fact and draw the conclusion about those events. So if you focus any kind of past event and you conduct the systematic process, use to systematic process to conduct the historical research, main important thing is we are focusing of past event to discover fact and draw the conclusion about those events. In a simple word, it is a scientific investigation of history. It is means scientific, planned, systematic investigation of history. This is called historical research. Next thing, the meaning of historical research. Important thing is historical research in this first section that involve the systematic study and interpretation of past event to understand the present, and on the basis of past and present event predict the future trend. The historical research studies means past events systematically. And after this systematic study of past event, it helpful to understand the historical fact and development. Once you understand the historical fact and development, And then this is the step is to interpret the past record evidences scientifically. It will be helpful to explain the present situation through past experience. So on the basis of past, it will be helpful to understand the current situation. It is useful to predict the future trend and development. So it use source just like the document, books, reports, archive, newspapers. So many old documents is also be useful in the historical research. Next important thing, the historical research focus on the past record and documents. The historical research mainly focus on past record and documents. In this, just like we are discussing about of type of research, the researcher studies the government record and official reports, just like census or newspaper, diaries, just like the personal journal, personal diaries, letter, correspondence between the two pupils or corresponding between the different organization in past, old photograph, map, school, university record, books, manuscript, journal, archive, research article, previous studies, old research articles, autobiography, biographies, minutes of different meeting, administrative files, certificate, and historical agreement. So these sources are generally divided into two important parts, is means primary source of data and secondary source of data. So all these are the past record and documents, or this is the all these is the document in which we study use in the study of the historical research. And all these are two types. Number one is the primary source and second one is secondary source. So now we are discussing about two important concept is historical development and changes. Historical research help to the historical development and changes. The one important purpose of historical research is to understand how things develop and change over time. With this passage of time, the things will be changed and maybe change on in past. So on the basis of history, we try to find out the historical development, historical changes over time. So by studying of past, researcher can see how society, educational institution, sports, culture have progressed from earlier time to the present times. Simply we discuss about the historical research, help us to compare the past with present and understand the reason behind these changes. Because we study of past and compare with the present, we find some changes and find out the what kind of changes, what kind of reason of this change. For example, by the studying the history of Olympic game, we can understand how sports competitions, rules, participation have changed over times of years. The old 100 year back, the rules, regulations is different, and now the same game rules, regulation is different. So through the historical research, we try to find out the causes of change from the past to the present. Next important thing in discuss is here the definition of historical research. According to Best and Kohn in 2006, historical research is the systematic and objective location, evaluation, synthesis of evidence in order to establish fact and draw the conclusion about the past event. Historical research involves the collecting historical evidences and record carefully. The first important thing in the historical research, we collect the data, we collect the information from the past, and the researcher evaluate the authenticity and accuracy of the information objectively. The important thing is the researcher collect the past record, past data, past information. The important thing with this information is reliable and authentic. So the important thing is with the researcher should be test or check the accuracy and information through objectivity. So different historical sources are analyzed scientifically, and that important thing, the historical research, the main purpose is to establish fact about the past event. And important thing at the end, finally we can say that the historical research are drawn based on the collected evidences. The important thing in the historical research is means the process of collection or recorded of data. So collected evidence is directly related to the quality of research. Next important thing is the objective of historical research. The first objective of historical research is to study and interpret the past event. As we know about the historical research generally focus on the past event. But my dear learner, the first objective of historical research is to study and interpret the past event. The researcher carefully examine the past record, historical record, document, evidences to understand what happened in the past and explain those events scientifically. The important things, the past event, so what happened in the past, and then explain with these scientific supports. Next important objective of historical research is the historical trend and development, in which we study with understanding what type of historical trend is and the development. So another objective of historical research is to understand the historical trend and development, because over time we see the changes, just like the rule, regulation and the different kind of the sports. The 100 year back is a different and now is different. So this is the trend, what type of trend of change and development of all these things. So it is the important objective of historical research. It helps us to know how the society, education, sports, culture change and progress over time. Next objective of historical research is the causes and consequences of historical event. Simple. In the past, you focus on any kind of the event of past. The first important things, what type of causes of this type of event, consequences of it, and of this historical event. The other important objective is historical research is to identify the causes and consequences of historical event. The researcher study the reason behind the important event and examine their effect on the society, education, sports and culture, just like the World War I and World War II, a type of event in the past. With the help of the historical research, we try to find out the causes of World War and what type of consequences of this historical event. So this helps us to understand how past event influence present situation and future development. So important thing, just like we study on the past event of World War I or World War II, and in current situation we try to understand of past. Next important thing is what type of influence the past in current situation, and on the basis of the current situation what will be the future development. Next objective of historical research is the background information for present research. Another important objective of historical research is to provide the background information for present research. So by the studying of the past record, studies, event, researcher gain the valuable knowledge and understanding that help them conduct the current research more efficiently and accurately. Now, this is an important topic, is the characteristic of historical research. So what type of character historical research has? First is, this is the focus of past event and historical data. So now let us to understand the key characteristic of historical research. Historical research mainly focus on past event, historical and as well as the historical data. In this type of research, the researcher studies the past activities, events, institution, development to understand how and why they happen in the past. So the purpose is to learn from the past and understand its impact on the present and future. This is the basic concept of historical research, and basic characteristics is to study of past, main purpose to understand the present and find out the impact on the future. Next important characteristics of historical research is the primary and secondary source of the information and data. So historical research use both primary and secondary sources to collect the data, to collect the information. The primary source are original records such as letter, diaries, photograph, official documents, interviews, historical report. But we go secondary sources means just like we including the books, journals, articles, research paper written by the other authors based on historical information. So all these primary and secondary data we can use in the historical research. Next characteristics of the historical research is critical evaluation of evidence. Important things, the evidence in the past and you select for the historical research. So now the important characteristic of historical research is that you should critically evaluate this is the past event. The researcher must carefully examine whether the historical information is accurate or reliable and authentic. These three important characteristics, this is information is recorded, it should be accurate, it should be reliable, it should be authentic. Not all historical records are fully correct, so the researcher must compare and verify each and everything or each and every evidence scientifically. Next characteristics of historical research is interpretation and synthesis of the information. So how you interpret the information. So historical research also involve interpretation and synthesis of information. This means the researcher collect information from the different sources, primary and secondary sources, and after that they analyze it. And next step is to connect a related fact and develop the meaningful conclusion about the past events. Simply, the historical research helps us to understand the past systematically and scientifically so that we can gain knowledge, learn lesson, and better understanding of present development. Here we will discuss about the sources of historical research, and an important thing in the historical research is data and information. The researchers collect from the past, and both information maybe the primary collect from the primary sources and secondary sources. The historical the sources of historical research is based on the primary source of data and secondary source of data. Important thing is primary source of data depend on the original document, diaries and letter, official record and photograph. Next important thing is the secondary source of data. The secondary source are sources that explain, summarize, interpret or analyze information collected from the primary sources. So these are not original record but are based on the already existent information, just like we are taking from the information from books, review article, research paper, newspaper, biographies, encyclopedia, just like research, historical events, just like we're giving the example of a book describing the history of Olympic game. Based on historical record is a secondary source of the information or secondary source of data. Generally, we will use in the historical research. Next important thing is the how we can conduct the historical research. This is the flow chart, the step of the historical research. The first and important thing with the historical research is the historical research is a systematic process of collecting, evaluating and interpreting the information about the past event to draw the meaningful conclusion. The simple collection, analysis, interpretation of information. Information means the information collecting from the past, and main purpose is to draw the meaningful conclusions. The first step of the historical research is to select the appropriate topic. It is means choose a topic that is the interesting, relevant and researchable. Next step is the after the selecting of research gap, to clarify, define the problem and set the objective of research question. The third is the collection and the collect the source of information. The important thing is the locate and collect relevant primary and secondary source of information. Fourth step after the collecting the information, they criticize the sources, examine the authenticity and reliability of sources, and means you check the information on data scientifically. It means you should focus on your data should be reliable and accurate and correct. So through two important aspects, internal criticisms and external criticism. So internal criticism means to examine the physical aspect of source to determine its authenticity. That is just like who is the author, date of publication, place, origin and physical condition. So this is called the external criticisms of sources. Second is internal criticism. It means examine the content of the source to determining its reliability and trustworthiness. This means the purpose of this consistency, credibility, accuracy and point of view. To all the basis of this, we should check the data, its the quality, the data should be correct, data should be reliable. Next fifth stage of historical research is the organizing the information, to classify and arrange the information according to the themes. So after the collecting the information, we should is organize in proper way as we required for the further analysis. Next important thing, analysis and interpretation of data. To study the evidence carefully, identify the pattern and trend and relationship, interpret the meaning. Next, after the analysis, we goes to the next step of draw the conclusion, and after the conclusion we write or draw a proper report, present, and in the form of report we write our studies. Main purpose is to historical research is to understand the past accurately, learn from it, and use the knowledge for present and future development. So this is the basic concept of historical research. We're giving some example which is related to in the field of physical education. Historical development, just like physical education in India. And this, the researcher studies all record historical document related to the physical education in India. The researcher examine the old education policies to understand the government effort in promoting in physical education in past. The development of a sports institution also studies to know how the sports organization and training center were established over time to time. In addition, the researcher studies the evolution of the physical education curriculum to understand how teaching methods and subject change through different periods. From every 10 year of decades, the subject and method of teaching will be changed. Through the historical research, we should find out the change over time in the past. So this research helps us to understand how physical education develop and progress in India over time. Next important thing, the advantage of historical research. So what type of advantage of historical research, especially in relation to the sport and physical education? So this is the one in the important advantage of historical research is it is provide a deep understanding of past development. Maybe they are related to the sports or not. By the studying the historical event, record, experience, researcher can understand how society, education, sports, culture development and changes over time. Next important thing is the present trend in physical education and sport, because the all example we give our advantage in relation to the sports and physical education. So by studying of past development, policies and practices, the researcher can understand how current system, teaching methods and sports activities evolved over time. Next is it is very useful to making the policy making and future planning, especially in sports and physical education. So by studying of the past success and failure of the government policies, educational institution and sports organization can make better decision for the future prospects. For example, by studying the history of sports policy in India generally used in the past, the policymaker can improve training facilities, physical education program and athlete development through the scheme for the future generation. Another important advantage of historical research is that it preserves historical knowledge and tradition. This is very important aspect or advantage of historical research. So historical research helps us to protect or the important record, cultural values, educational practices and sports tradition for future generation. Otherwise, all the things will be eliminated for our societies. The historical research plays a very important role to preserve our culture or sports or practices. Just like we're giving an example of research on historical research of just like Aligarh Muslim University, help the preserve its educational heritage, sports achievement, traditional student culture and contribute to the physical education and academics. Here we will discuss about the importance of historical research in the field of physical education. First important, it will help or understand the origin and development of the sports. So by the studying of historical research, researcher can know where a sport started, how its rules change and how it's become the most popular in this country or worlds. For example, the game of hockey developed in a different form in this ancient civilization and later become an international sports. Similarly, cricket originated in England and gradually spread to the countries like India, wherein it become the highly most popular nowadays. Next is the importance of physical education of historical research is how ancient Olympic Games started in Greece around 776 BC and how the modern Olympic Games were revived by Pierre de Coubertin in 1896. So researcher can examine this type of the situation. It means history of Olympic game, history of sports organizations. We should preserve, we should study for the future understanding, present understanding and future development. So historical research also studies the development of any organization such as International Olympic Committee and National Sports Federation to understand their role in promoting these sports worldwide. Next important of historical research in the field of physical education is the historical research help the analyze the changes in the physical education system over time. Researcher studies the old educational policies, teaching methods and curriculum structure to understand how physical education improved in a school and the universities. On the basis of this historical research, we should recommend it the appropriate change in the curriculum and in the field of physical education. Next important aspect of historical research in the field of physical education is it will help to preserve the traditional sports and cultural heritage. Many traditional game and physical activities are part of our country's culture and identity. So by the documenting of their history, rules and importance, the researcher help to protect these traditions for the future generation. The main type of research by the method of descriptive research, analytical research, experimental research and historical research. It is discussed recently. The important thing is the historical research, they play important role the preserving the tradition and sports and cultural heritage. So thank you very much, my dear learner. So here we complete the historical research. Now we will start the survey method, the last part of the research by the method. This means the main type of research by the method. This is the last method or the survey research. Survey research is a type of research in which the information is collected from the group of people by asking the different types of questions. We ask the question in the form of survey, so we collect the information. So the questions are usually asked through the questionnaire, interviews or online forms to know the opinion, attitude, behavior and the condition of the pupils. My dear learner, the survey research helps the researcher to collect the data from the large population in a simple and systematic way. We just distribute the survey and the participants fill the survey, read and carefully and fill and submit. And in a very short period of time, we will collect the large amount of the information. It is widely used in the education, physical education, sports, health and social sciences. The meaning of survey research means the survey research is a method used to collect the data from large population. Important thing is we can collect the data from the large population through, important thing is the tool is the questionnaire, through the interview or survey. Survey research also helpful to gathering the information about the opinion, behavior and characteristics of different type of the group. So through the survey we can conclude, we can collect different types of information, just like we collect the information about the opinion of the pupils, behavior of the pupils and characteristics of the pupil. Next important meaning of survey research generally used, commonly used in historical use on social sciences and education and sports research. Here we discuss about the short definition of survey research. So survey research simple is concerned with the collection of data regarding the present condition, behavior, attitude or opinion of pupil on the basis of, or generally we use of different type of tool just like questionnaire or just like interview. In this method, a researcher gather the information from individual to understand the current situation of a group or society. Just like we're giving an example, a researcher may conduct an online survey to know the student opinion about the online education system, of new education policy, about the changes in the sports policy or present fitness level of the athletes. So through the survey, we can collect the large number of the information in a easy way and a very short period of time. And this is the scientific flow diagram of survey research. How we can conduct the survey research. First important thing to stage is identify the problems. Second important thing is we go for the review of related literature. This means the study related research and available information, just like we go for the review of book, journals, reports, and previous surveys and studies. And next stage is the objective or hypothesis formulation. After the hypothesis formulation, we go for design the survey. It means frame clear, simple, unbiased question generally used to collect the proper information. And next is this select the sample, choose the representative sample from the population. So we should select the population, and after that we use a appropriate technique of sample selection to select appropriate sample of technique. And after this sampling selection, we go for the data collection. Generally we use a different type of tool to collect or with the help of survey the data. Next is the organization of data. So it means edit, coding, classify, tabulate the collected data. It's mean important things. They check the completeness and accuracy of data and prepare the table chart for the further analysis. And next is process is general use of statistical process to analyze the recorded data. And after that you will prepare the report and find the conclusion or finding the of your studies. In important scientific survey research equal to the scientific planning is depend on scientific survey based on important thing is the planning plus objectivity of data plus accuracy plus valid conclusion. So all these process we should follow one by one to complete your survey research. Next is important thing is the objective of survey research. The main objective of survey research is the collecting the information from large population. The important things, if the researcher want to collect the data from the large population, so researcher should go for the survey type of research. Next important thing is the study, attitude, opinion, and behavior. Just like if you want to go for the study to examine and understand the study of attitude, the opinion of the pupils, or check the behavior of the specific population, so then we go for the survey type of research. Next is to identify the trend pattern in the population. So many trend and pattern find out different population or different areas of having the different trend in relation to the studies, job, behavior. So on the basis of the generally use of survey research to identify the trend and pattern in the population. Next important objective of research is means to provide data for planning and decision making. The important thing is we collect the information with the help of survey research, and this data is used for the planning, for future planning especially, and making any kind of the decision about the population, about the area, or about any sports and participation. So these are the main objective of survey research. Next important thing is what type of the characteristic of survey research. The first and most important thing, the survey research is based on the large sample size, because if we have the large sample size, it means the researcher should focus on the survey type of research. Use important thing, use standardized data collection tool. Important thing, you go for the survey research. The important thing is to select the appropriate tool for the data collection. The important thing is the tools generally used for the collection of data should be standardized and valid. Next thing is the data are usually quantitative and descriptive. That is means qualitative and quantitative. So sometimes we collect the information in the form of numbers. Sometimes we collect the information in the form of descriptive, in non-numbering data. So both data generally used in the survey research. Next important characteristics of survey research is focus on current condition. So this is the very important aspect of survey research is its survey research should or based on focus especially on the current situation, to assess the current situation. And oftenly use of the statistical analysis. So all these 5 characteristics of survey research. Next important thing is the major type generally include in the survey research. First is the cross-sectional study. A cross-sectional study survey is a type of survey research in which data is collected at one point in time from all age group. In this method, generally the researcher studies the present condition, opinion, behavior or status of the population without following them a long period of time. Just like the cross-sectional survey, in which we first select the target population, and after that we select the appropriate sample size, and the one point in time we collecting the data, only one point in time. After that we go for the data analysis, and after that it can be find out the conclusion and interpretation. So this is the cross-sectional survey, the data collected at one point in time. Next type of major type of survey research is the longitudinal survey. In the longitudinal survey is a type of survey research in which data is collected from the same group over a long period of time. Once they select a group, and different times we collect the data from, we collect a different period of time data from only one group. Just like here the shows a flow chart. First we define the population, in which population we go for the survey studies, and after the population we collect the appropriate sample for your target population, and we repeated data collection over times. First time and the same period of time we collect the data, second time and third time, fourth times, and fourth time we find out the trend, and after that fourth time we go for the data analysis and interpretation. It is means we collect the data timeline, just like we collect the data of baseline, follow-up is first, second and third is follow-up, and fourth is follow-up. Just like we collect the data, the baseline, after the training of 6 months we collect again data, maybe after the 6 month we collect the data once again, and after 6 months we collect the data once again. It means in 18 months we collect the 4 time data. That is an important thing in the longitudinal study, means data collected over a long period of time to observe changes, trend and relationship. Next important type of survey in research is descriptive survey. Descriptive survey is a type of survey research that describe the characteristic, condition, attitude, behavior, opinion of the pupils. Just like we show here the flow chart. Important thing is first we define the objective. After the objective defining, define the population. So here the first define your objective. After the objective you define, you select define the population, and then selection of sample and collecting data and organize or summarize the data. Then we go for describe the population. The important thing with the descriptive research is helpful to describe the population. The important purpose of descriptive research means accurately, systematically describe the characteristic of the population. And tool of generally used in the survey research. So which type of tool we use in the survey research? Number one is generally we use of the questionnaire. We distributed the questionnaire. Sometimes we go for the interview, online interview, face-to-face interview, open-ended interview, online survey. Sometimes we share the link of online and public giving your responses. Rating scale, we find out we giving the rating 0 to 10, 0 to 20 about any evidences during the data collection. So we make it the rating scale, and sometimes we make the checklist, just like you for example, respondent giving the answer yes or no, or right and left. So this is the generally this type of tool used in the survey research. This means these tools help to collect the structure and reliable information in the survey research. Mainly importance of survey research in physical education and sports sciences. The first important thing is, with the help of the survey research, student attitude toward the physical education. What type of attitude student have the physical education, to we go for the survey research. Identify sport participation trend, especially in India. So which type of trend to the participation in sports? If you want to go to find out these answer of these questions, then we go for the survey research. Evaluate health and fitness awareness or status of different states or different age group. then we can go for the survey type of research, just like we go for sport policies, education policies, sports generally used in physical education and sports sciences. Then we will go for the survey type of research. So thank you very much, my dear learner. Today we discussed about the historical research and survey research along with their type and importance. We understood how research helps us to study the past event, present condition and changes in education and sports scientifically. The important thing is scientifically. So these research methods are very important because they help the researcher and physical education teacher to collect accurate the information, understand the problem, and the very, very important thing is to make better decision for the future. So I hope today's class has helpful to you about to understanding the historical research. Thank you once again.